and welcome back to another segment of Terminating Low Voltage Cables. I'm Ron Kipper with IDEAL Industries, and welcome to my shop. And in this segment, we're going to step you through how to terminate a Cat 5e jack properly. You know, the Cat 5e jacks we put on our Category 5e wire is very important that we do this properly. And you know, the connections are a major point of failure. As a matter of fact, we troubleshoot cabling systems. The problem's usually in these connections. So it's important we do this right, because you know the systems won't work at 5e speeds or Cat 6 speeds or whatever it is unless we do actually terminate the thing properly. And you know, I've seen a lot of bad workmanship in my career, and even in new home construction today. I would guesstimate that somewhere around 25, maybe 30% of all the Cat 5e cables I see out there won't actually work at 5e speeds because the guys are just doing a crappy job of doing the termination. So it's important we do this right. Now, the simple little connection inside of here is referred to as an IDC, or an insulation displacement connector, and it's a fancy term for our little connector that basically is a little V-notch like this, and we take the conductor laid in the notch, and the punch down tool we're going to utilize here will drive the conductor into the notch. The bites through the outer jacketing of the cable and then into the actual copper inside that wire, making the connection for us. So again, the tool we're going to use here is the punch down tool. Now, basic punch down tools usually have a color coding system to them. One side indicates what we refer to as the cutting side of the bit, because not only will the tool drive the wire in the slot, it's going to cut the excess conductor off for us too. The little bit in the tool is referred to as a 110 style bit, and it corresponds to the connection which is referred to as a 110 style connection in our Category 5e jacks. Now, I'm going to tell you, you can ruin the jack with this tool if you're not careful. And when we use these, we want to make sure we line up the cutting edge on the side we want to. When you're utilizing a punch down tool, you don't want to lean the tool away from the cutting edge, because then it's not probably going to cut properly. If anything, you're leaning a little into the cutting edge, okay? And guys, I didn't say a lot, okay? We also would like to be straight up and down this way with the tool, and we're not leaning the tool at strange angles when we go to drive down the connection. And as I said before, you can ruin it right here. And there are what I call the flare folks, and they'll push the tool down, it'll make the connection, then they'll roll it out to one side kind of and flare out like that. Then there are also what are referred to as the sawyers of the world, and they're the ones that like to go back and forth. There are what are referred to as the wigglers, and they go this way with the tool. And there's even what I call the pounders, where the guy just slams the living heck out of the tool and doesn't realize he's ruined the connection right there in that process. So we're going to step you through how to do this properly and show you a couple little tricks. And I'm going to switch to a close-up so you can get a good look at that. The tools we're going to use to terminate the Category 5 jack are a wire stripping tool, which will strip the outer jacketing of the UTP or category cabling, and this actually is a dual. It has a cartridge for stripping coax and Category 5e cable. We also would use a pair of snips to actually trim what's referred to as the ripcord in the cabling. We can even use a pick or a spudger, and this is a tool that we use to kind of help set conductors in the connector itself. And then of course we have the punch down tool. Now, the connector itself, the Category 5e jack, when you look at one of these and you think about where you're at when you're putting one on, you're sitting on a bucket, you're crawling in somebody's desk, so you're utilizing the floor or the wall to punch down against, and that sometimes can be bad. These jacks, the way they're designed, they can wobble a little on you, and they roll, and you can actually break one in the process of the termination. And so a lot of connector manufacturers have brought out what are called termination pucks, and this is basically a little platform that we can snap the jack into, and it just kind of snaps into the puck like that. And we now have something that will hold the connector for us during the termination process. Now, the connectors have on the side of them right here, you'll see a little letter A and a little letter B in here, and that's referring to the 568A and 568B wiring schemes that are out there. A is usually used in governmental work and residential. B is used in commercial data networking. You can actually use one or the other, just make it all A or make it all B. Now, the Category 5e cable we're going to terminate on this, we need to remove about 2 inches of this outer jacketing, and we'll use our wire stripper to do that. We'll just simply open it up, Insert the cable inside the stripper. Again, I want about 2 inches. Now, the little razor blade inside here, we really only going to want to go once, maybe twice at the most, because the blade can nick the conductor. So then we're just simply going to open the tool up and remove the tool. Don't take the jacketing off with the tool. Then I'm going to pop this and break it, and you see how it kind of popped through the outer jacket for us, and we can remove the outer jacket. And then we also have this stuff called nylon ripcord we're going to remove with our snip, and we're just going to simply cut that out. And now we're ready to terminate these wires into our category 5E jack. Now, when we get done here, the outer jacket should be right to the middle of the back of the connector. We don't want none of it inside of here, and we don't want a bunch of it missing back here either. So somewhere about right in there. Now, if you look at the color codes on the side of the connector, it tells you exactly where to put the conductors in. You put them wherever the manufacturer of that jack tells you to, basically. But in this one, we start in the middle of, or in the back, and which is the blue pair. And then we lay in the, and we punch it down. Then we lay in the next pair and punch it down. Then the next, working our way towards the middle here. We do not like to see you terminate all, or lay all the wires in the jack at one time and then start punching them down, because the punch down tools may actually damage a conductor doing it that way. So we prefer to work from the back. Now, one of the tricks here is to, since blue is the first pair, I wanted the blue conductor on the top here, or on the bottom, and it's actually on the top. So I'm going to rotate this cable where blue is on the bottom. And that allows me to just simply lift these up out of my way, and I can deal with just this blue pair. Now, the standards will only allow us to untwist up to a 1/2 inch per pair when we get done here. Untwisting of the pairs is the number one thing you do not want to do to this cable. So we're going to pinch it right there good, so we're not untwisting anything down inside the jacketing. And we just untwist this on the outside here. And we're going to get this first pair, which is the blue, and I'm going to take the outer jacket, lay it right to the middle of the back of the jack, and lay white blue in its corresponding spot, and blue over here where it belongs. I might even take my little pick or spudger tool here to set those two conductors, and then we're going to trim them off. Now, the punch down tool straddles that wire just like that. The orange is on the side of the tool that we want to cut off. We're going to lean it slightly into the cutting edge and drive it down, and do the exact same thing over here with the blue. Now, and that's terminated again our first pair. Now, the next pair you see here is green, and that's the next one we're going to do. So we're going to simply take the white-green pair and get it out of this little mix here and untwist that right down to the jacketing. You notice I'm kind of pinching it right there so that I make sure I'm not untwisting anything near the jacket. And we'll lay those two conductors in their corresponding slots in the connector. And we'd like to see pretty nice clean radiuses or turns into these connections, and we can go ahead and punch down that green pair now. Now, the next pair you'll see over here is the orange pair. We want them both on this one side. Now, when we go to terminate the orange and even the brown, we might be able to leave one extra twist in the pair. And I'm going to come up the conductor about 3/4 of an inch and pinch it there, which allows me just to untwist this much of it, which hopefully will allow me to, again, leave an extra twist in this orange pair inside the connector itself. And again, we might even set this using our pick or spudger here. And I'll punch down that pair. And again, you can see where I've got one extra twist now in this orange pair, and it's inside the connector. And again, the more twists we leave, the better we are. And the last pair, brown, I'm going to use the same technique over here. And we lay the brown conductor in there. White, brown. And I go ahead and punch down that pair as well. There we go. And there is a properly terminated category 5E jack. I've got some extra twists inside the connector, which is always, again, good. My outer jacket is right there. It's right to the middle of the back of the fitting. We also ask you to do a visual inspection of the connection itself. Make sure you haven't made some sort of a wiring area. You can visually inspect it. And then lastly, a dust cover covers it all up. And now we can remove the connector from the termination puck. And now the connector is ready to be snapped into a wall plate and ready to use. And there you have terminating a Category 5E jack properly. And we'll see you next time on terminating low voltage cables. I'm Ron with IDEAL Industries.